bid you welcome or welcome back. I'm not entirely sure if this video will be public, so if you don't know me, I am Narcissa Lazarus, one of those datums you've been warned about many times by very reputable sources. See, there's something that happened that was very funny and I wanted to share it. So how should I start it? I finished my own 13 pages long, it says it there, 13 pages, stitches, chapter 1. This is my prototype for my sample from my own comic that I made. And so where should I start? I will start by saying that over a month ago, on my YouTube posts, I shared an unfinished version of this. Like, this is an outdated version that I changed in a few ways ever since, but I never actually shared this pretty much anywhere over like beyond some personal circles. And now I also updated my feed with the latest, the final version, which you can access if you want. I wanted to make a completely separate video about this whole project, but I wanted to share this very suspicious thing that happened. So there's this creator called Gat Russ, who I've been watching for a few years now, and he made this video on the 22nd of May, and underneath I left a comment like within the first 12 hours or something of its uploading, and this comment mentions that I just finished my graphics design course and that I finished my own 13 pages long comic that I made as my final project. And I did not share any sort of links here, but if somebody were to click on my profile and go to the posts on my channel, then they would have been able to find this post where I have the first version of this comic. Now what happened is I today updated this version and I wrote in the updated text, formatted, saved it up, all of that. But I also checked out a few places online where I could upload my comic as well, so it's not just on a Google Drive somewhere. And I checked out this place called Global Comics, and I was scrolling and I saw that, oh yeah, there's an AI comic there, AI, that's AI too. And I kept scrolling and this one really caught my eye. And I will click on this properly. I messed it up, wait for a second. I wanted to click on it like, where is it? I just sabotaged my own recording. It is gonna be somewhere here. Now I will need to edit this video if I can't find it right away. There it is. Okay, so this is a comic that came out on the 23rd of May. So about one day after I left this comment on this video. And if I open this, now I'm not entirely sure if you see any sort of resemblance between these two pages. Like nothing seems to really jump out, is it? So here's the thing. I know this has to be just a coincidence, right? So the fact that we have this title in a very similar formatting, or you know, it is just 2 letters off from mine, and it has this leather bound stitched letters look, while mine is just like raw wound lettering. And also the formatting of the title is like, mine is chapter 1, Stitches chapter 1, and this one is Stitch issue 1. I know it's just a coincidence, like there is no way that it is anyway intentional, right? And you know, there is absolutely nothing sus about the fact that the main character on this on this cover has this half sliced Frankensteinian face, something very familiar if you look at my image, and also, you know, having long black hair. That's very common. People very often have long black hairs and like very important looking necklaces in their necks. That's just something that regularly happens, and there is nothing there's nothing deeper in that thing. And also this cover has this logo here, and mine doesn't have a logo here. It only has this little sticker that says the 13 page sample. So this has to be completely coincidental. There is no way that somebody just literally grabbed my not even finished prototype of the comic and ran it through some sort of AI analyzation tool and then made this comic with AI. And also, you know, this is a completely different story. This follows a different character who, yes, happens to be looking at a mirror at one point, just like my character is looking at the mirror in the beginning. And also, you know, my character's face is discolored on the, I always got it wrong, discolored on the right side, and this picture is a picture from their point of view. So this is mirrored because they are looking into a mirror, and this character's face is discolored on the opposite side. So yes, this cover aligns with that one, but it cannot be because this is not a mirror image by any chance. And yes, the backside of my cover mentions that this is an urban fantasy with gothic horror elements. And you know, coincidentally, this comic also has this character going to some sort of gothic architecture place that is very obviously consistent between these images. Like this whole thing, the urban fantasy gothic horror elements, they must only be a coincidence. There's no way that you know, it's only a day between these two things, between me sharing about my comic and then this comic going up, you know, that just happens to have the same elements. There is nothing suspicious here, and there is nothing suspicious in the fact that this character in the comic finds this old relic, this old necklace. And you know, that is not the main story of my comic. It has nothing to do with the necklace. I mean, the main story doesn't have anything to do with the necklace. It's only the 13-page sample that is explicitly about a flashback scene that shows how this character got their necklace, how they lost the old one, how they managed to meet this new found family that they are a member of, and how this other character made a necklace for them in the end. So you know, it's not at all even inspired or based on a very quick synopsis of the story of my comic. This is just you know, great minds think alike kind of moment. And you know, this character Mia in this story has a daughter. I read the introduction, and it's an important part that there's a family element of this comic. And you know, I do not believe that anyone AI copied my work, but it would be very funny if an AI analyzed my comic and added a family aspect with a child into this AI version. You know, it would be very funny because of two things. One of them is because this backside says that this story is about a found family, so that could have been a source, but also the fact that this comic was dedicated to my father who died last year, and whose death and the following weeks, the events of the following weeks inspired the main story, Stitches Chapter 1, which is unfortunately not in this sample. But you know, that would have been a very funny thing if an AI just ate this up and then created something along these plot lines. Also, there's a little teddy bear and a bunch of voodoo dolls, and oh yes, there is technically a teddy bear in my comic. I'm not saying that any sort of AI would include this, and you know, I don't have a voodoo doll either. I only have this little rabbit plushie that my main character is cuddling in this panel. And so overall, I would say that this is a very, very funny coincidence that I just happened to mention this comic somewhere that I never really shared anywhere else, and then about a day later this other thing went up. You know, it would be very, very funny if this was actually based on my stuff and I just happened to stumble into it. But you know, obviously I do not believe that it's possible, because I do not believe that anyone would sink down to the level of grabbing my cover, grabbing my title, changing 2 letters, making a story that has nothing to do with my story aside from the text that is written on the backside of this comic, and some very obvious plot points that happen, and some very random little images that they have in common. So yeah, nothing. I just wanted to share this very little funny thing, and yeah, so it would be actually very, 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 very hilarious if there was some AI bro who's watching the Gatras channel as like a hate watch kind of stuff, and then saw someone mention a comic in their comment and said, wait for a second, what did you say? Did you say comic? And then went on my channel, looked around it, said that, let's see if the posts say something. Oh yeah, there's a link to a comic. We could check that out, and we could just for the funsies run it through an AI and generate something that has nothing to do with the original beyond I don't know, having the same aura reading or whatever this would be. And also it would be especially very, very hilarious if that was the case, because This comic features an African-American, I assume this is an African-American person as the main character, and while my main character is not, my main character only has a discolored side from their surgeries. It would be very funny if somebody grabbed a comic from a person who's a member of a marginalized group and then made something based on it that is marketed towards other marginalized groups. That would be the joke of the century. But you know, this would be way too funny to be real. So that's really all that I wanted to share. Go and watch Katras and like other cool human creators or something. Do whatever you want, and love you and farewell.